Imagine this. Buried for thousands of years under the sands of Rajasthan, there's a lost city. A city with a story to tell. A story of a civilization that rose, flourished, and then just vanished. Today we're going to unearth the history of this incredible place, a site called Kalibangan. Now, listen to this. A city where fire was worshipped, where fields were plowed, and where life was planned. I mean, that's not just a description, right? It's like a window opening up into a world from almost 5,000 years ago. It tells us about a society built on faith, on innovation, and on order. A society that definitely has a story to tell. So what exactly was this mysterious city? That's the question that has kept archaeologists and historians hooked for decades. And the answer, well, it turns out to be a really unique and crucial piece of this giant puzzle we call the Indus Valley Civilization. So let's dive into the desert's mystery. The city's name is Kalibangan, and its story is, well, it's not like any other from its time. It's a really enigmatic chapter in the history of one of the world's first great urban cultures. So, to get our bearings, Kalibangan was an ancient city of the Indus Valley Civilization, and its location was absolutely key. It was right there on the banks of the Gagar-Hakka River, which many experts believe was the ancient, maybe even legendary, Saraswati River. This wasn't some tiny remote outpost, you guys. This was a major provincial capital, a really significant urban center. And wow, it was around for a long, long time. Kalibangan's history is layered, It covers two different eras. It started out as an early pre-Harappan settlement, and then it grew, it evolved into this mature, planned city, developing right alongside those more famous sites you've probably heard of, like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. And here's the thing, this wasn't some accident. The city was built with a plan. When you look at the ruins of Kalibangan, they show this incredible level of urban planning. It points to a society that really valued order and structure in pretty much every part of life. You can literally see this purposeful design in how the city was split into two parts. You've got the citadel, or the upper town. It's this raised area, probably for religious ceremonies and the city's administrators. Then you have the lower town, which was the main residential spot for, everybody else. And the planning itself was really sophisticated. The whole city was laid out on a grid, with streets crossing each other at perfect right angles. Pretty cool, right? For their buildings, they used both mud bricks and the stronger baked bricks. But what's interesting is that while it was super organized, its drainage system wasn't quite as advanced as what you'd find in other big Indus cities. That kind of gives Kalibangan its own unique personality. But hey, the city planning isn't the only thing that makes Kalibangan so famous. This is where the story gets really interesting. We're talking about a land of fire and green. The two discoveries we're about to look at are what make this city truly stand out from every other site in the Indus Valley. Okay, get ready for this. The most significant discovery at Kalibangan: fire altars. This was a total game changer. While other cities were all about trade, Kalibangan seems to have been a major center for ritual and worship, all focused on one powerful element: fire. And this is the crucial part. Archaeologists didn't just find one random altar. Nope. They found 7 of them, all lined up in a perfect row at the citadel. This wasn't an accident. This was organized, public worship. It was clearly central to the city's entire identity. So what were these things? Well, they're called fire altars, or Agni Kunds, and they are, without a doubt, our best evidence of a ritual fire worship from the entire Indus Valley civilization. They hint at a spiritual life that might even have roots in the later Vedic traditions, which is just a fascinating idea, right? It makes Kalibangan this vital link for understanding how ancient beliefs on the subcontinent evolved. And if that wasn't enough, get this: the world's earliest plowed field. Yeah, you heard that right. This discovery literally rewrote our understanding of the history of agriculture. It was found just outside the city walls, and it's considered the earliest evidence of a plowed field ever found. Anywhere on the entire planet. And the evidence is right there. You can't argue with it. You can see the crisscrossing pattern of the furrows in the ground. It proves they were systematically using plows thousands and thousands of years ago. You add that to the fact that they were growing wheat and barley and raising animals, and it paints this amazing picture of a really sophisticated and thriving farming society. Okay, so we've got fire worship and groundbreaking agriculture. But what about the people themselves? What was life actually like in Kalibangan for the folks who called this amazing city home? Well, the things they left behind tell their story. We get these glimpses of daily life through their distinctive pottery, which is different from other Harappan sites. We find tons of black bangles. In fact, that's what Kalibanga means, black bangles. We even find little terracotta toys, which tells us that kids were playing here. It was a real, living, breathing city. But that leads to the big question, right? If this city was so well planned, so innovative, why was it ruined? The story of Kalibanga's end is just as dramatic as its beginning, and it's a powerful reminder of what nature can do. It seems like it wasn't just one thing. It was like a devastating 1-2-3 punch. First, the river, its lifeblood, started to dry up. No water means no farming. Then, the evidence points to a huge earthquake that just shattered the city. And finally, the climate itself began to change, bringing drought. That was the final blow. And so, the city was abandoned. Eventually, the desert just swallowed it whole. But even in its silence, Kalibanga has so much to tell us. Its ruins are like the voice of history, offering these timeless lessons about civilization, nature, and, well, survival. So let's just recap its entire journey. You can see its rise and fall right here. It starts around 3000 BCE, grows into this flourishing, planned city of faith and farming. But by 1800 BCE, after more than 1,000 years, it was all over. It became a ghost city on the banks of a dead river. You know, this quote just says it all. A civilization born with the river, flourished with planning and fire, and was destroyed by the changing face of nature. I mean, that perfectly captures the whole epic story, doesn't it? Its birth, its life, and its death were all tied to the world around it. So what's the big takeaway from all this? I think Kalibanga's most important legacy is how it widens our perspective. It shows us that the Indus Valley civilizations weren't just about trade and merchants. There was so much more going on. It was a world of deep faith, of ritual, and a really profound connection to the land and to farming. And that leaves us with one last, kind of sobering thought, doesn't it? The story of Kalibanga, a city that collapsed when its river died and its climate changed, feels incredibly relevant today. So it makes you wonder, are our own civilizations today just as fragilely dependent on our rivers and our climate? 5,000